Las labores del campo son largas y de arduo trabajo,
The
realizadas
labors of the field are long and hard work, performed regardless of the weather conditions that occur. The music has always had a very important place in the daily life of the farmers, at work, at home, and as an important part of the moments of leisure and fun.
Latinoamérica.
In Latin America is where it has been more linked to the musical culture in the countryside. There are different genres that have become the heritage of each country, taking it in their blood, caring, preserving and teaching so that this tradition endures over time. It accompanies me from the time I leave the house at 5:30 in the morning to go to the fields to work and return at 6 in the evening, and all day long I put the little pillar on it. I know how to handle it. As the story goes, things have to be taken care of mijo or else they turn out badly. The advent of the transistor radio and basically with Radio Cristal, which was the station that made Jaramillo the popular idol. In his absence, he was 10.5 years out of the country, touring Central America, Mesoamerica, part of the US, and during that time a radio in Guayaquil, Radio Cristal, that was responsible for keeping alive the memory of Jaramillo, while a music businessman bought the reproduction rights of Jaramillo's records, to re-record them here repriser, and that time coincides with the entry of the transistor radio. The urban message is then transferred to the rural area and the peasant works with his transistor in his pocket or with his transistor hanging on his back, and while he is macheteing, while he is making furrows, he is singing Jaramillo's songs, and Jaramillo also becomes a rural idol, because there is no town, there is no place, there is no rural area where Jaramillo is not listened to or where a picture of Julio Jaramillo is not seen. I really like Colombian music and popular music, like the pasillos, the ballads, the boleros. Music like Julio Jaramillo sings, which is a beautiful music that has a lot of message, and it is very attractive for my partner and my children, because we are very entertained by the music, and it is useful even when you are on weekends when you are resting, sitting down to have a beer and listen to Julio Jaramillo and the boleros or the rancheras, so that is an attraction and relaxation in life. Transistor radios became one of the most popular devices, invented in 1947. Its small size allowed people to listen to music or news anywhere while doing their work.
En el campo, como somos tradicionales con la música que nos gusta siempre el campesino, que esa es la música popular.
In the countryside we are traditional, with the music that the campesino always likes, which is public, popular, and the music that comes to us as the tradition of the countryside and of what has always been popular, rancheras, pasillos, boleros, all that beautiful music that our ancestors, our grandparents and our parents left us, the legacy that this is what is beautiful and what is more convenient, and that one thing is more in tune with the other. The work in the field with the music that one listens to, because the messages of many songs are very much in agreement with one's work, within the musical themes one's mind is entertained, even, the work does not become so tedious and the day is calmer. It is a very beautiful relaxation and to encourage one all the time.
Me encanta mucho, me gusta gusta mucho la música.
I love it very much. I like music very much. Even now I am very discontinued, but I used to play a lot of guitar and Colombian music, and I call serenades in the era of serenades, which has gone out of fashion, let's put it that way, because boyfriends take their girlfriends and take them, it is, from very young and no longer serenade them, they go out with other things, we at the time, when I grew up with that music. I had a trio, when there was what we called in the countryside, El Dia del Amor. El Dia los Novios, the night was not enough to give all the serenades that we sang, so badly sung, or maybe we knew how to sing, but no, that tasted very good, at that time many beautiful songs, Flor del Campo, they asked for it a lot, they dedicated it a lot, Tupinamba de los Cuyos and Julio Jaramillo, Tus Ojos, many very beautiful songs.
Tus ojos, muchas canciones muy hermosas.
Es importante despertar en las nuevas generaciones
It is important to awaken in the new generations the sense of belonging so that they live, feel and preserve the different traditions rooted in all nations, teaching them their roots, transmitting to them the feeling of identity, beliefs and values that make cultures and traditions last for many more generations.
más.
Oh, en esas épocas inclusive...
In those times, I remember that the first little radios that my dad bought had only one battery and you only had to listen to a program for an hour and turn off the radio to listen to the news or another program in the afternoon. Because since it had only one battery it was very scarce, and life today is very different because at that time that battery was worth pennies. But you had to economize its use so that it would last 2 or 3 weeks, so you couldn't keep the radio on continuously if you didn't have specific programs where there was music or things that interested the person the most. Those are very beautiful memories, and as I say, the girls, my sisters would borrow the radio from my dad to listen to it when they started showing the radio soap operas, and he wouldn't lend it to them but only once a half hour a day. That was a radio for everyone. Those were very beautiful memories. Tradition is a beautiful thing, starting with the families, the nobility with which we were raised. They taught us, yes, to be very noble, very humble and very loyal, and we had some very nice principles which were: first, respect for the elders, to ask permission, to apologize. Today the children, very few are taught, yes they teach them but they don't practice it.
Sí se los enseñan, pero ellos no lo practican.
The only way is by sowing in them, through the Pasillo School, in a mission of this contact of the old musicians, the musicians with all their glories, with all their trajectory, like Dona Frisia Saavedra, like Maestro Carlos Ruben Infante, like Maestro Ronaldo Campos and others, that they play the role of grandparents transmitting this tradition to the young, to the new generations. The methodology is sowing love in the young. The pasillo is a popular musical genre made known at the end of the 19th century in Colombia and Ecuador. It received the name of pasillo, and in Venezuela it kept the name of waltz. It is the air and the dance of freedom, since it was created as an expression of joy during the period of independence from Spain. In Ecuador it has been considered as the national music par excellence, since this genre symbolizes the feeling of the Ecuadorian soul. Look that the pasillo, according to the historical studies that we have done, enters as such at the time of independence with the soldiers of Bolivar, the battalions of independence, the military bands, introduced two rhythms, the pasacals and the pasillo of the 19th century. Then it is an accelerated rhythm to dance, very similar to the Colombian bambuco, because it enters through Colombia. It comes from Colombia and still brings that little touch of the Colombian bambuco and Pasalleneando from Colombia passes to Ecuador, and here, already at the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, it becomes a love song. That which was initially danced later becomes a transmitter of feelings and becomes a poem set to music.
Me acuerdo mucho de la música de Julio Jaramillo y Olimpo Cárdenas.
I remember a lot the music of Julio Jaramillo and Olimpo Cardenas, because that left us, better said, marked of music that does not return, better said that nobody composes it again, because that is very difficult to repeat. It can be that somebody appears and they make creations of music so beautiful and that people dedicate with affection, with love, a theme of those to a girlfriend or a birthday to a mother. Music generates feelings of love, tranquility, happiness, sadness, and a great company at the time of performing different tasks. In the field became the great ally and companion of the laborious work done by farmers.
Los campesinos.